Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Turning Point Podcast, episode number 17. My name is Lara and I am joined here once again by Lewin.
Hello.
How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing good.
So it's been a bit of a drama to get this episode happening.
Weather did not favour the idea.
Yeah, we both had thunderstorms. You had a very more aggressive one. I had a mild one. But what I also had with the thunderstorm was the owners of the apartment complex doing some maintenance in the garden, in the yard, the little front patch of grass that we have out the front. They were mowing it, and then they were also like got the whippersnapper and like fucking going hard with that. So there's a lot of noise happening like an hour ago, so I'm glad we didn't start then.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thing a bit earlier than that. I had the plumber in the top room or the top toilet trying to fix that, so...
I need to get an electrician to my house because like my brother's room, I say my brother's room, it's actually it's my room. It's full of my shit, but it's where my drum kit is and shit. But like in that room, the light switch doesn't work anymore. Like it's not the case of the globe in the light has gone out. It's the actual fucking switch has just gone loose, so you can't, like, when you move it, it just flips straight back up, but it doesn't. It seems like it's gotten loose, but it's not connected to anything anymore, so it like doesn't work. So I've got to get an electrician to come and fix that at some point. I got to tell the real estate about it. I just haven't done it. You know, it is what it is. But how are you doing? It's been a few weeks.
It has been a few weeks. I'm doing good. Not been up to too much.
Just working, doing
the
grind. Yeah, I've started working again. Holy shit, I've had so much to do over the past few weeks. It's insane. And so I was like, I'll do my Eternity Clock video or whatever. Nah, don't have time for that shit. So I've decided to delay that video for a bit, and I'm just gonna focus on Resident Evil 3 video that I'm working on, because I want that to come out on the 1 year anniversary of the remake, and then I'll just focus on my Tomb Raider retrospective. So I don't really have time to do a fucking Eternity Clock video. So I was just like, screw it.
That's the whole point of the game. It's the Eternity Clock. You have eternity.
Yeah, I'll do it one day. Now, my plan is to do it after the Tomb Raider retrospective.
Yeah.
So my plan is to get, at this stage, is I want Resident Evil out then, and then I can spend April and May working on it, and then my plan is to get the retrospective out either late May or early June, and then I can just kind of do the Eternity Clock video after that. But yeah, I was like, I've been so busy working on like other projects, you know, shit that I get paid for, so it's always good to get a bit of money. That's always nice. You can find us all on podcast platforms. Now, I say that now, but I said in the first episode that we were going to be on podcast platforms. I still haven't set up the other platforms yet, but I haven't had time, man. Like, I know it's just a case of setting it up, but I literally need like a spare bit of time to just sit down and do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get that done by the time... It probably won't be up by the time this episode is, but by the next episode, hopefully it should be all sorted. I'll schedule in a bit of time just to sit down and set it up, because I'm going to set it up across a couple of platforms. But we are up on Spotify, so if you are listening to this a week later on YouTube, guess what? You're a bit late to the party. You can find us all on Spotify literally pretty much after we record it. I literally uploaded the audio version on Spotify the day... literally within 24 hours of when we recorded it last time.
Damn.
So yeah, and I edited that too, by the way. I sat there for like an hour editing it. I cut it down from like 2.5 hours down to like 2 hours and 13 minutes. So we went through, plus there was a couple of bits I had to cut out, so I was like, fuck it, might as well just cut it down a bit. But yeah, so you can find us over on the Spotify platform. So if you are listening to this on YouTube, one, a like on the video would be great, but also go follow us on Spotify, because you'll get to listen to these straight away. And of course, you can keep up to date with everything over on the social medias. The links are in the description below. You can find me over on Twitter at RebelCroft, where I've been posting a lot of tweets recently, Lewin. Some real hot takes, if you will. Not really. I've just been posting some dumb shit. This is the last episode of kind of like, I guess, 2020 catch-up. Because we're going to be talking about Mandalorian this episode, which is exciting. Because as moving on for the next episode, we're going to be moving on to some new content, which is pretty exciting.
Yay!
How do you feel about doing WandaVision for the next episode?
I'm down for that.
There we go. Done. Next episode sorted. So we'll be talking about WandaVision in the next episode, and we'll probably do that in a couple of weeks when the final episode is aired.
We have no behind the scenes. The behind the scenes of this podcast is in the podcast.
Yeah. We'll just make it up. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, we'll do that. It'll be in a couple of weeks after that, because we still got the episode this week, and then there's an episode next week. So we'll probably do it the week after.
Yeah, once the whole show's finished and we can collect our thoughts.
Yeah, it's fun. So we won't talk about it in the catch up, but if you want to hear some basic thoughts that we had on the first part of the season, in the previous episode we kind of talked about it for a bit. But yeah, that's what we're doing this episode. But first, Lewin, what have you been playing recently? What have you been doing?
Okay, in terms of playing games, I'm still working through Hitman 1. I finished Hitman 1 with like the special conditions of wearing your suit only, so not disguising yourself and not getting spotted. Finished all of that. Now I just need to get some mastery levels. That's been good fun.
That's way too much work for me. I'm just like, I just want to play through the like mission stories and then I'm good. You know, I don't need to do all the other shit.
I love it.
It's fine. I love it too, but like I don't need to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's fair.
Like, I can just not do it. It's fine. I've still got one more of the first game to play, which I was gonna stream, and I'm gonna have to play it soon because I'm literally almost finished Assassin's Creed 2. So I'm gonna need a new game to stream. So I wanted to stream Hitman 2. So if I get time, I'll finish it. If I don't get time, I might just stream like an episode of Life is Strange 2 or some bullshit. Before I get into it. But yeah, I need to finish the final one. I haven't done that yet. I'm looking forward to playing Hitman 2 though.
As am I.
I'm looking forward to playing that one.
I've still not played. I've played the prologue and that's it. So I'm very much looking forward to actually playing the rest of the game.
Have you seen how shiny Agent 47's head is in Hitman 3?
Because I played some of Hitman 1 on the Hitman 3 engine, and yeah, it really is.
It's so shiny and reflective, and like you go back and play like Hitman 2 and like it's just not. It's fucking funny. I thought that was hilarious. Oh, that's good. Have you been playing anything else though? You've been
playing games.
What's you been doing?
I've just been doing
I know you've been playing other shit. I see you playing all sorts of different shit all the time, so
I change games very often. Besides that, I always keep up my my Doctor Who binge. I recently got my 50th anniversary special Steelbook. Sexiest fucking Steelbook I've seen.
Steelbook, yeah.
And I finally have a copy of An Adventure in Time and Space in that, so that's a win for me, because I actually really like that little documentary.
Yeah, no, I've got the Blu-ray box set with the Doctor Trilogy in it, and that's got that in it as well. Which I bought because they said it was limited edition, but you can literally still buy it now.
Is it that one with like the kind of gear design around the outside of it?
Yeah, it looks like The Moment.
Yeah,
like, it's
JB
like The Moment
still has that.
They literally still sell it. They were like, it's limited edition, and mine actually is limited edition. It's got a little number on it. But then they just re-released it as a normal thing. And I'm like, well, why the fuck did I pay? Like, it wasn't anymore, by the way. Like, it was the same price as it is. But I was just like, why the fuck did I... Because it's literally the same thing. And I'm just like, why the fuck did I, like, panic about trying to get this when... I could just have bought it any time, you know. Like, is that's all you've been doing? You've been watching a bit of Doctor Who and playing
really the
whatever
only
it was
thing
you said you were playing.
Is I've been reading the High Republic stuff for Star Wars, and that's really good.
Oh yeah.
That is.
I mean, not
really
if you follow certain channels on the internet.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, but how is that? That's good because I know the new the Acolytes show, which we will be talking about the Star Wars shows in a little bit, but I know the new Acolytes show that's going to be set in the High Republic era.
Yeah, I think it's at the very end of it. Like it leads into like just I think 80 years before Phantom Menace or something. I don't know. Star Wars timeline.
So is the High Republic? So the High Republic, that's like pre-episode 1, right? Like it's like it's pre-episode 1, but it's like what's the time difference between the
as of the
prequels?
First book, I believe it's about 200 to 300 years before Phantom Menace.
What was the Old Republic? The Old Republic was what, like 1,000 years or something?
2,000, I believe.
Yeah. So there's quite a big gap there. I can't wait for them to, make the Old Republic canon again, because they will.
I was watching some stuff on the Old Republic, and it fucking fucked with my head a bit, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, their technology is so much more advanced than the technology in the newer Star Wars universe.
It's fine. Yeah. Don't think about it. It's okay.
The galaxy was just like, you know what, let's go retro. And they did, and they stuck to it like a fucking wildfire.
Nah, the Old Republic's good shit. And I definitely think, because they did confirm they were making a Old Republic film at some point.
Yeah, but that was like 5 years ago.
I mean, it wasn't, no, it was like a couple of years ago. Like, it was literally, I think, like 2019, they announced that they're in development for the Old Republic film. There wasn't announced in their upcoming slate, which again we'll talk about later, but neither was Taika Waititi's film, but we know he's working on a Star Wars film. That is true. And we also probably, I'm pretty sure Rian Johnson's still going to do his Star Wars trilogy.
Someone did confirm within the last week or two that his trilogy is still in development.
Yeah, so there's all these styles. So I'm thinking the ones that they're announcing are fucking gonna be within 5-10 years. It's so far away that of course they're not announcing it. They've only announced one film, and that's the Patty Jenkins one. It's mostly TV shows, so I guess it's just it's just what it is. It's fine.
They're probably just. I mean, at the moment, you don't really want to rep a film because fucking COVID's ruined the movie industry. So, you're like, let's just pump Disney Plus. And it's working so far.
Yeah. Disney Plus, actually, speaking of Disney Plus, they've just released their new Star edition. That's got a bunch of stuff.
Homeland, Terminator.
Yeah, it's got Homeland, Terminator. The Taken films are on there. Alien.
Anything that Disney got from Fox.
Yeah, it's got all the R-rated X-Men films, so Deadpool and Logan, which is great because I haven't rewatched Logan since that released. And when did that come out? That was
2018, 2017.
2017?
I think it was 2017.
2017, yeah. I haven't seen it since then. I watched that film twice in the cinemas because I went to see it one time with one friend, and then I went to see it again with another friend and my brother later on, but I haven't watched it since. And I've been kind of I don't want to watch it again because I'm but I feel like it's going to be one of those movies that's I don't think it matters if I watch it again. I don't think I'm going to find anything in it that's going to ruin it. You know what I mean?
It holds up. I watch it fairly frequently, and it holds up as well as it did on release.
I like how it's when you look up the wiki, it's it's the third and final installment in the Wolverine trilogy. What are you fucking talking about? It's not related to those films at all.
Probably for the best.
It's not even, I mean, I guess it's the third solo Wolverine movie because the Wolverine's not really related to X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No,
and X-Men Origins,
there is no connection between any of those films.
Yeah. And X-Men Origins Wolverine isn't even canon. So it's yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's 3 solo Wolverine films that have literally nothing to do with each other. The only even connection any of them have to the X-Men movies is the fact that at the end of the Wolverine, there's that little end credit scene that's like set up for Days of Future Past.
Yes.
And then that's it. Like, that's the only... Like, I mean, I guess the X-Men Origins film is just, like, expanding on the origin that we'd already seen in X-Men 2. But, like, it's so different that it's, like, it's
own
just...
thing.
It's not canon. And then Logan's, like, just so... Like, here's the thing. Logan was the last X-Men film I watched. Because I did not watch... Actually, no, hold on. Which came out, I think... Apocalypse came out after Logan, didn't it? Or did it come out before?
No, I think it came out after. Or did it? No, hold on. Fuck.
2016.
Okay, 4.
So it was Dark Phoenix that came out after. I haven't seen Dark Phoenix,
Neither
and I'm never going to watch it.
Don't want to.
Yeah, because, like, for me, I was like, you know what? Logan's it. Like, there's literally... I felt the same way watching Logan that I felt watching Avengers Endgame. Like, that's it. I don't need to watch any more of these films. It's done.
It is a cap off.
It's done. It's done. Like, they just announced the name of the new fucking Spider-Man movie, and one, it's got a dumb name, but two, like, because they've they still haven't officially confirmed it, but it's pretty much been essentially confirmed that it's not going to be a Spider-Verse movie, which I'm still holding out hope. I feel like that's maybe a misdirect, but, like, literally, I'm never going to watch that film if it's not a Spider-Verse movie. Like, I don't care, you know? I'm enjoying the TV shows, though. The WandaVision is really good, and I want more of that kind of shit, but I don't care about fucking Spider-Man. As I said earlier, I've been working on a Resident Evil 3 video, so I actually replayed all of Resident Evil 3 again.
Yeah.
Replayed through the entire game, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I played it on this... I just played it on normal again, just simply because I was like, we'll just get through the game. Like, I'm not going to up the difficulty on a replay if I'm just capturing footage for the video. Like, my priority is to capture footage, not to do that. But I finished that, and the exact same thing happened again as last year. Like, as soon as I finished it, I immediately wanted to go back and start it again. Like, I just love that game so much. It's such a good game.
It's short enough that you can do that.
Yeah, but yeah, I played through this. This time I played it on PC, which is really good as well, because now I actually have... Because I didn't do this with console, and I'm not sure if the console has as much save slots as the PC does. I'm not sure. But I didn't really save at different sections of the game, so I could go back and just replay whatever I want for virtual photography purposes, which you can't do on console anyway.
Yeah.
But on PC, because I've got, like, the free camera, now I've got save games for, like, all the different sections of the game. So I can just go to whatever part of the game I want. Because the problem with using the virtual... camera is you can go to you can use a launcher, or not launcher, what are they called? Hold on, give me a sec. I've forgotten what it's called. It's like the modding kind of software. The trainers. You can use a trainer to, you know, teleport to literally any part of the game. Problem is depending on what part of the game you're up to, you can either break the game by teleporting to certain places, either before a certain story event or after a certain story event. And it's great because if I want to take photos in the hospital, you know, I can as Jill. But you can also change what character model you have as well. So I can literally go to the RPD in the Carlos section and just change my character model to Jill, and then just because when you change the character model you can also change the animations, so I can just literally go and play through the whole RPD bit as Jill, which is something I want to do. I think that'll be fun. But other than that, I've been essentially streaming Assassin's Creed 2 and almost done that. I'm up to sequence 13, so I've got the last DLC sequence to do and then the final sequence of the game. I've just got to collect all the codex pages before I can do that.
Yes, the one annoying part about AC2.
Yeah. So I've just got to do that. But man, it's been fun. I'm not going to go on a rant about Assassin's Creed this episode, but it's just been so nice just playing that game again. I'm really looking forward to jumping into Brotherhood on stream. I think that's going to be so much fun. But yeah, I've been really... Like, I was streaming the other night. Like, I've done only 4 streams. But, like, to be fair, each stream's like 4.5 to 5 hours each. So, you know, it kind of adds up to why I'm up there, but I'm up to sequence 13, and like I just don't want to do this particular sequence. One thing I hate about the Ezio collection, and even like most versions, you pretty much can't get a version of Assassin's Creed 2 nowadays without the DLC included.
Yeah, that's right, because that's Bonfire of the Vanities / the other thing. I can't remember what the other one is.
Yeah, it's sequence 12 and 13, and it just absolutely ruins the flow of the story at the end of the game. Like, because usually sequence 11 would be the second to last sequence. Oh, there's a bit of thunder. And then you would go on to the final sequence, but no, they have to and it does fit into the story, I guess, but just in terms of like pacing and flowing, it really grinds the story to a halt. And then you're forced, and they're big sequences too, like they're not like they're short sequences, so I'm not looking forward to doing that, but that'll be the next stream, and then hopefully the next stream will be Assassin's Creed 2 done, and then we'll move on to another game. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
What have I been else doing? I've been rewatching through Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, so that's been a bit of fun.
Yep.
That's like I genuinely think like that's the best version of Ghost in the Shell.
That's the anime series, like the original-ish anime series, right?
Yeah. So I'm watching Standalone Complex at the moment, and then once I finish that, I'll watch Second Gig, which is the second season. And then once I finish that, I'm going to rewatch the Netflix show, which is the third season. Or technically it's the third season, but it's like its own thing as well. But I talked about this last year. I can't remember which episode it was in. I wonder what episode it was. I can't remember which episode it was in, but one of the episodes in the catch-up segment last year, I talked about Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2045. So, yeah, that's like Season 3, I guess, but it's not technically. But that's a lot of fun. So I've been rewatching that, and that's such a good fucking show, and I would definitely recommend watching it. And also, I rewatched the Scarlett Johansson Ghost in the Shell film for some reason. I was just bored one night, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just watch this again. And you know what? I still stand by. That's a good movie.
The live action one is pretty much the only Ghost in the Shell I've seen.
Yeah.
So I do like that movie.
Yeah, it's a decent movie, and like it's like Cyberpunk 2077. Like it's a really good like baby's first Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a really good, you know, introduction to the genre. Now you need to go back and watch the anime.
I plan on it. I keep thinking about doing
Go back and watch the 1995 anime movie.
Yeah.
And then you'll experience fucking Ghost in the Shell. Holy shit. But no, I rewatched that film, and like genuinely, like I think that's a really good movie. And I guess it's maybe because I'm coming from the perspective of someone who was introduced to Ghost in the Shell through that film. Like I knew what it was, but I hadn't actually watched it. So I watched the film, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I actually want to check this out. And then I went back. So I think just as a whole, that film's good. But yeah, I've been rewatching Standalone Complex, and that is like, I think the definitive, like, this is the best version of this interpretation. Well, it's much more like the manga, where the original anime wasn't.
Yeah.
So it's good shit.
I've got nothing to do for the rest of my day after this, so I may as well just watch the movie.
But the other thing I've been playing is Nier Automata. And when I say playing, I mean I played like 4 hours of it. I'm really struggling. I put this up on Twitter the other day, and I said, like, I'm just finding it so easy to put that game down and just not play it for days and days. And like, I don't know what it is about it. Like, I'll bring up my tweet. So I said, like, I'm really trying to like it, but I can just so easily put it down and not touch it. Like, I don't ever feel the need to play it like I do with some other games. Like, there's no, like, I have to play this, or, you know, I can't wait to get home from work or finish working for the day and then, you know, play Nier Automata, or there's just no drive. And, like, I posted like a Twitter thread, but I was just like basically saying, like, overall I'm pretty disappointed with this because I heard nothing but good things about the game, and I'm just finding it to be incredibly boring. That probably
also didn't help.
Yeah. And so I'm literally like, because I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm just finding it to be incredibly boring. Like, I enjoy the moment to moment gameplay here and there, but I literally could not tell you what the story of that game is about because I don't care. I haven't been paying attention to any of it.
I can tell you what the story of that game is about. without like all 3 playthroughs being played.
Well, not even that. Like, I just do literally. I don't even know what's going on in the first playthrough because I'm just not paying attention because I don't care. It's so boring. But also, I think I did also put, say, like, I also said sometimes I just, and this is probably gonna be controversial, but I literally put it on easy mode because you know how you can put it on easy mode and then activate the autopod things. Yeah, I just do that sometimes, and then I sit on my phone on Twitter or YouTube because I literally just don't care enough to actually play it. So I just let the game play itself. You know, like there's moments I do that, and then there's moments I take it off and I play it, and you know, there's moments where I'm playing it and I'm like, it's fucking. I'm so bored. Like that very first open area, like you know how you finish the opening mission, you go to the space station, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you go to that opening area for the first time. This is before you go out into the desert. This is where you meet with, like, the resistance. I was walking around that, and I'm like, this whole area is so fucking boring. There's nothing happening here. It's just nothing. It's a load of nothing. And so I was just like, this is kind of boring. But I did also note that I said the game left a really bad first impression on me that I just haven't been able to get past, which is the opening mission. Because I just think the whole idea of not being able to save your game before a boss fight is fucking retarded.
Yeah, I don't like games that limit savability, because you start up a game, you get half an hour, and then suddenly, oh no, what's this? Grandmama's in the hospital. I need to go there. And so you turn off PS4, you get back, and you're like, oh, it didn't autosave.
I am enjoying, like, moments after that. Like, I did enjoy going through the desert and the first kind of, like, boss fight you have in the desert. With like the robot thing
that keeps evolving throughout the fight.
Yeah. Like that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. But that's like one moment out of 4 hours that I've enjoyed playing, and I'm like, this is what it'd be like if I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So, but another thing I did also put down was I just said the PC port runs like absolute like it just looks so bad. And yeah. I even showed you.
Yeah, you
like,
sent
that
the
screenshot.
tweet that you sent, and yep,
it's terrible. There's so many bad textures in this PC port, and like I can't talk about what the console's like, but like it looks like it's from the PlayStation 2 era. And not only on top of that, but I'm running the game in 1080p. It doesn't look 1080p. Everything's all blurry. Everything's like not that crisp 1080p.
Yep.
So I've looked up online. I found a heap of mods that you can install. Like there's someone on Nexus Mods that put together a list of mods to download, and he calls it the Definitive Edition. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to download like 10 fucking mods to make this game look good, you know? And I don't know, it's just it's really not good. And like again, I'm just finding the whole experience boring anyway, so I'm not invested. So I am gonna mod it and see how I go. And I, like I said to you on Facebook, like I am determined to at least finish the 2B playthrough before I make a definitive decision on whether I like this game or not. But so far, it's not good, man. It's not looking good.
Fair enough. Not every game is for everybody, no matter how hyped.
Well, that's what I said, though. Because I literally wrapped up my Twitter thread by saying, I don't think this is a bad game, and I'm saving my judgment, blah, blah, blah. But I said it just does not live up to the hype surrounding it at all. Maybe it's just not for me, which is fine. Sometimes that's just how it be. Another thing I've been doing, just quickly, is I've been playing the drums a bit recently. I signed up for Drumeo, so I could actually properly learn how to play the drums, because I've had this kit for like a year, and I've kind of taught myself some basic stuff. But like,
wasn't this brought up in like one of the first or second fucking...
I was like, yeah, I bought a drum kit. I'm going to learn how to play the drums. And then, like, I've just been too busy for it. So now
Season 2 progress.
So I'm actually trying to, like, schedule time in my week. I'm like, okay, I'm going to schedule, like, a dedicated hour, 1 or 2 days a week during that Monday to Wednesday period where I just sit down for an hour and play drums. So I signed up for Drumeo to learn how to play. And I can tell you right now, my technique has improved so much since doing that, because before I was watching like YouTube tutorials and stuff, but just the way Drumeo teaches you shit is so good. And rather than just practicing to a metronome, they actually have loop tracks that you can practice to, which is just so much more engaging, because a metronome is just a fucking click, right? It's just like whatever. where these guys, they have musical loop tracks that go for like a minute, and you can loop it, and then you can just practice to that, and it's great. And it's just because I guess it's more like musical, so it's actually more engaging to play with. But then they also teach you songs, like, so as you progress through the course, they teach you songs. So I've been having a bit of fun with that. That's been a lot of fun.
I have one question for you.
Doing.
Are we sponsored by Drum?
No.
You just gave them the most hardcore sponsorship.
Well, look, listen, hey, if they want to sponsor us,
we haven't done that meme in a while. Raid Shadow Legends
Raid
is
Shadow
gone.
Legends. But let's talk Mandalorian.
Yes.
Now, I was going to segue into this to be like, you know what else we've been doing? But to be like, I haven't rewatched Mandalorian since it aired.
It's true.
So,
yeah,
this is just going to kind of be a, just kind of like wrap up of season 2, essentially. And that aired last year. Was it November, December?
It was.
Around then?
Somewhere in that time period.
Yeah. Is it 8 episodes? It's 8 episodes.
It's 8
I
episodes,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
October.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay, yeah. So it was airing around then. We were watching it. We didn't really have time to kind of do a video, do a podcast on it last year. So we thought it was the same with Cyberpunk. So we thought we'd just spend the first couple of episodes this year catching up. And yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. So I've kind of got a little rough structure for the conversation. Now, we're not going to be going in depth like we did with season 1, which if you want to know, if you want to know our thoughts on season 1, we actually have a whole episode on it. We did it for Star Wars Day last year, so you can go check that out. But season 2, we're not going to go in depth on for 2 reasons. 1, because we haven't watched it, but 2, I'm trying to rein in these podcast topics a little bit. So we'll just start out, Leave. Like, what were your thoughts? Like, what did you think of Mandalorian season 2? Spoiler free, just kind of your rough general thoughts. Did it live up to? Did it meet your expectations for what season 2 should be?
I can't remember if I said this about season 1, but season 1 didn't really. I think it's great Star Wars. Season 1 was never the be-all, end-all of Star Wars for me. I think it's top-tier Star Wars content, but I don't praise it almightily all that much.
It's my favourite Star Wars thing.
And I understand why.
Right up the top, and I love it so much. So good. Sorry, I was just hitting my desk. I should probably not do that.
But I don't... You won't find me praising it to a high extent because it was a show that I watched sometimes in the background. I was like, yeah, this is good. Like this. So season 2 didn't have the like massive hype expectations. So I went into it, watched it. I'm like, that was more of season 1, but a bit better. I dig it. It is just pretty much more Mandalorian.
It is, isn't it? It's literally just more the same thing. Although they do kind of connect it more to the larger universe.
Yeah.
In this season, which I obviously, as we've discussed previously privately, like I've got mixed feelings on, but yeah, like I really enjoyed season 2. I think overall the storytelling quality was a bit of a rise up, like, even because like in season 1 there was kind of that middle couple of episodes that were kind of okay but weren't like great. Where with season 2, I don't think there's a bad episode in season 2. Like, I think they're all really good.
Season 1 had events that happened. Like, there was the main storyline of getting fucking Baby Yoda to the people. And then as they did, random things happened, and they were just things. Season 2 has the same deal, except the things have more expanded stories. You know?
Yeah.
You actually get to know the people around them.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and there was a lot of that in season 1 too. But like there was just like that middle couple episodes. I think it was 5 and 6. I think 5 and 6 in season 1 were just kind of like, yeah, whatever episodes. Like they were filler episodes. Like, we want to talk about filler content in Mandalorian. Like, Mandalorian is literally filler content as a show. But those 2 episodes are what actual filler episodes are. Everyone's like, oh, this episode in season 2 is a filler episode, and like there's literally not a single filler episode in season 2. It's either the ongoing storyline or it's what the concept of the Mandalorian actually is. In fact, I would even consider like the episodes like the Ahsoka show, the episodes like the Ahsoka episode, those are the filler episodes because those episodes deviate from what Mandalorian actually is as a show.
Yeah.
Right? But, you know, like, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. I do think though, overall, the storytelling quality in this season was much better. I think and when I say that, I mean the individual stories. I think the individual stories just felt a lot more well-rounded, a lot more better paced. There was a lot more character in this season, a lot more like work done on characters and and like you said, not the main characters, but like the other characters that are in individual episodes, which I think is really good. I think, you know, like Bill Burr's character was a standout for this series, I think, and like I thought
quite liked the not Michael Bihn's character. The sheriff in the first episode.
And yeah, like in the grand scheme of the overall arc for this series, those first 2 episodes are very standalone. But again, that's what this show is. You know, this show is about Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, and it's about their relationship and their characters, and there is an ongoing story arc, sure, but like the episodes are just about them going about the galaxy doing their thing. You know, they're just literally people that exist in this universe that are just trying to get by. And yeah, like Mando's got like a purpose and he's trying to figure shit out. But like, that's what this show is. It's about the week to week. Here's what adventure they're going on this week. It's not about... It's like Doctor Who.
Exactly.
You know, like Doctor Who's not about the ongoing fucking plot arcs. It's about the individual episodes.
It's a person and their companion.
Just doing shit. But yeah, I thought this was really good. I think the production quality is just the same as season 1. Like, I think it's just as good. You know, like season 1 was a really big step up in terms of like how...
You can't really tell that COVID ever actually affected this series.
It's really difficult, yeah, because I know they shot some of it before COVID, and then they shot some of it after like the real height of the pandemic. But that's one of the great things about shooting in the volume that they do, is because they can have that controlled environment, and then you can also have George Lucas come along and hold Baby Yoda and take a little sweet Instagram pic, which was just great. I loved seeing George Lucas holding Baby Yoda. It was a good time. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say about the season non-spoilery apart from that one spoiler. I just think it was good. It was just more Mandalorian. I think overall the quality is better than season 1, but there are reasons why I think personally season 1 is better than season 2, but we'll get into that. I don't know if you have any other final thoughts on that.
No. It was a good season of not television, I suppose. It was a good season of streaming.
Well, from now on, we're going to get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen Mandalorian season 2, this is your time. This is your warning. This is your time to fuck off, because we're going to be going as in depth as we can remember, since we haven't watched this show since.
That's the key word there.
Alright, so let's talk about the story arc for this season. Okay, so this season is basically, essentially, trying to find... It's actually essentially the same... Well, no, actually, no, it's a different story arc, sorry. I was about to say it's essentially the same story arc as season 1. But it's kind of different. So, like, season 1's story arc was very much a case of... like, most of that season, he's on the run with Baby Yoda and he's being chased, essentially. That's, like, most of the season for that. And then it kind of comes to that final stand. Season 2's story arc is all about getting Baby Yoda back to his people. Back to the Jedi. Well, I mean, it starts out as being like, well, you should go back, you know, putting back with which I was like, oh, that would be a cool idea. We could maybe see more of, you know, Yoda's race and that kind of thing. More that isn't Yaddle. But instead it was kind of like, no, we need to kind of like find a Jedi and all that. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's essentially the story arc of the season. That's what the whole season... And as the season progresses, we, learn a little bit more. We find out a little bit more. It kind of starts with Bo-Katan being like, you need to find Ahsoka. And then you find Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka's like, yeah, nah, I'm good. Go do this instead. So then they go and do the whole... Well, I guess they go to that, like, Jedi monument thing, and Baby Yoda basically, makes a big call out. And then, of course, you get to the end of the season where Luke Skywalker shows up, and like that, and then Luke Skywalker takes Baby Yoda away to train to be a Jedi or whatever the fuck Luke's doing at this point in time. And that's basically the story arc. It's essentially about trying to find a Jedi so Mandalorian can palm off Baby Yoda and be like, there you go. He's your responsibility now. Even though he gets very sad about the whole idea.
I didn't want to go through the proper adoption avenues. Take him.
I'm not dealing with this shit. This is too much. But also, Mando's got his own thing going on, like, at the end of this season.
He's slowly relearning what it actually means to be a non-cultist Mandalorian.
Yeah. I really like this season. Like, they really go a bit more... And this is the kind of shit I want from this show. Which I'll get into later, but like I just want more exploration of Mandalorian culture and, like that kind of thing. And this season they went all out with Mandalorian stuff. Like we've got, like in season 1, it was very much a case of, we learnt about Mandalorian culture through Mando. And like, we learnt about the Creed, the Assassin's Creed.
If you know anything about Mandalorians,
nothing is true, everything is permitted.
I mean, you're right about the nothing is true part. Because fucking all throughout season 1, if you know anything about Mandos from even just Clone Wars, you're like, this isn't how they operate.
Yeah, like you do find out, but like it's and they do hint at the idea of like, like the kind of part of Mandalorian culture that he's from is they're kind of separate, like clan, and like like the idea that these clans have different rules. There isn't like one particular way, but of course like it really shows that I guess he hasn't really been brought up because he hasn't really been brought up as like a Mandalorian on Mandalore, where he's been given being able to experience the different kind of aspects of Mandalorian society, because obviously the Empire's just taken over that fucking planet and it's just a shit show over there. And also Mando isn't even actually a Mandalorian, like
he's just some dude who got picked up.
Yeah, like he's a Mandalorian in the sense of the word, apart from the fact that he's not from Mandalore. So they hinted at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in season 1, we actually get to see, this kind of cult culture with, what's left of them. And so he thinks this is
normal,
just how Mandalorians are. This is just what it is to be a Mandalorian. And then so this season goes a lot more in depth. And obviously, as fans, we know that this contradicts the Clone Wars a little bit. But also in Clone Wars, you have the different factions as well. So, it was easy just to go, well, this is just a different faction. They have their own rules. They don't take off their helmets and things like that. And then we get to this season and they go, well, no, these guys are actually a cult. Which, is, I still, and I don't even know what I was trying to say then. But, they're revealed to be a cult. And they're like, they are a kind of clan, a cult clan in the Mandalorian society that stick to the old ways of Mandalorian society.
The warrior dogma.
Yeah. Where, Bo-Katan comes from that kind of more modern Mandalorian society, which, is what we see in Clone Wars and whatnot.
It's kind of rich coming from Bo-Katan, considering, she did try to assassinate, or she was a part of a terrorist group. Let's not pretend that she knows any better.
Yeah, so, but at the end of the day, yeah, like
Mandalore is a
Bo-Katan.
very multifaceted.
There's a lot
Class.
going on. You know, Darth Maul was kind of in control for a little bit there.
Yeah.
You know, Obi-Wan had a relationship with the Queen for a while. You know, there was a few bits and pieces going on Mandalore. But yeah, so essentially we find out that, like, he's from a cult. And, you know, he's just been raised to be a part of this cult. And I guess because Mandalorians as a society are so oppressed and, you know, they're almost legendary at this point. You know, like, you don't really see a lot of Mandalorians in the galaxy these days, I guess, at the time that Mandalorian's set.
Yeah.
So, as far as he's concerned, like, the only Mandalorians he has ever encountered is his own clan. He doesn't really encounter other ones until Bo-Katan. So, yeah, it's certainly interesting. I really like that episode. They really go in depth on, you know, they introduce Bo-Katan and you actually get to see kind of his reaction to how they act. Which then, of course, all this leads, like, it leads to his character journey throughout the series of him kind of questioning his own code and his own morals, you know, which is kind of something that keeps coming up, which then comes to a head in the episode where they raid that Imperial facility and he has to take off his helmet, like they're in Imperial armor, and he has to take off the helmet to, you know, get past the security thing to get what it is, and he has to do that. So then it becomes a question. He's already questioning it by this point. So the seed's been planted, but it's just like now he has to do it. Like, he has no choice. He has to take off this helmet. And I love that entire sequence in that episode. Well, I mean, we're skipping ahead to the end of the season here, but that entire sequence in that episode is just so awkward. Because Pedro Pascal does a great job, because you just see him there and you can just see how awkward he feels and he is the whole time, because he's standing there with his helmet off.
He's not used to the undercover work. He's always go in, shoot people, get out. This time he's like, I have to stick to a plan, and that plan is putting me in a real uncomfortable position right now.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, and I love how that whole conversation, he's just awkwardly sitting there, like the conversation at the table between Bill Burr and the other character.
You have the general from the
and he's
thing.
He's just kind of sitting there awkwardly. And I guess he's not used to also interacting with people with his face as well. So, like, he's just, like, sitting there like, I don't know what to do, you know? So I thought that was a bit of fun. That was a lot of fun for his character arc. But then at the end, you know, we finally kind of see him embrace, I guess, you know, a side of his culture almost. You know, like, because now that he's had that experience, you know, in the end, he can just feel comfortable taking off that helmet for Baby Yoda in front of all of these people, you know. So I don't know. It's a really nice character arc, I think.
Yeah.
And it'd be good to see a bit more of Pedro Pascal. Although one thing I absolutely love about season 1 is just how incredible he is with the helmet on the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need him for it to work, but I guess, you know, like, I think, you know, it's time. I think we start introducing more of that. I just don't want him to have his helmet off all the time. Like, be like a Boba Fett situation where he's like, you know, he puts it on, he takes it off, you know, whatever. But that's what I'm hoping for season 3.
Maybe have the helmet off in, like, the Razor Crest scenes.
Yeah, maybe just, like, helmet off when it's required. Like, maybe just, like, during small scenes of dialogue, during conversations and shit. Like, we don't need, like, when he's on a mission and he's, you know, in the zone, he can just have his helmet on. It's fine. But I really like that. I was kind of hoping... One thing I'm kind of hoping, and I know this isn't going to be the storyline, because they spend this entire season setting up the storyline for taking back Mandalore. A lot of this season, like, introducing Bo-Katan and then showing Mandalorian, you know, his character arc, it all leads to this. Like, at the end of the season, this season's about Baby Yoda. Okay, so that's not what this season is about, but this season is literally setting up Mandalorian to get to a place. I keep calling him Man, it doesn't matter. Mando. You know, I'm not going to use his real name, it's fine. it's all about setting up Joel to get to the point, which,
Nice.
by the way, yeah,
Nice
did you like
reference.
that?
Yep.
Did you like that? Yeah. It's all about setting up Mando to get to a point where he would be invested in joining Bo-Katan on that kind of crusade to kind of take back Mandalore.
From one cult to another.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, is really Bo-Katan part of that? Like, they're not really the Night's Watch anymore, or whatever the fuck they were called.
Death
like,
Watch
they're kind
or
of just
Death
Watch.
Watch.
Yeah, that's it. They're just what they are now. You know,
Yeah.
Night's Watch is Game of Thrones. Is that what? That's Game of Thrones. Oh, you know what? Who
Probably,
fucking
I never.
cares?
But it's like,
Doesn't matter.
I guess you don't really need to be a part of a terrorist group anymore when your entire fucking planet's gone.
Yeah, but the character arc gets into the point. So that's obviously what Season 3 is going to be about. Season 3 is going to be taking back Mandalore. Because at Season 1, he's very much like, you know, like, he's very much like, kind of at the start when Bo-Katan's like, you know, you should come and help us. He's like, no, I'm not interested, right? Like, I'm like, I don't care about this. You go do that. I'm just going to go do my thing. And that's, you know, that's just the way he lives. Where now
He's just
like,
a simple man making his way through the universe.
Exactly. Where now he's, you know, he's had that purpose with Baby Yoda. Like, he's had that mission, that drive, and now he needs a new mission and a new drive. And I think that's what Season 3 is going to be about. Season 3 is going to be all about...
His life is just slowly escalating.
But yeah, and we also have a lot of returning characters from Season 1 as well.
We have Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, who's in one episode, which I was a bit disappointed by.
I'm always happy to see Carl Weathers in this show. I love him in this show.
Well, yeah, and I'm kind of disappointed that it was only in one episode.
Yeah.
I kind of would have thought he would have appeared more, like, even especially at the end, instead of it just being Kara. Like, I thought he would have been there. But interestingly, he appears in the episode that he directed. So maybe that might be like a, you know, scheduling thing. Like, maybe he was busy.
Potentially, yeah.
So he's like, okay, well, if I'm directing this episode, I might as well be in it. So there was that. And also, he didn't really change his appearance like he did with Season 1. Like, you know how he has that grey beard? Where in Season 1, he didn't have that. He had the moustache, which had then been, you know, changed to, like, dyed black or whatever. He didn't do that. So maybe it was just more of a scheduling thing. Like, I can't really give you more time because I'm doing this. So we'll just do this one story. And that's why he doesn't appear at the end.
Which is, it is sad.
But also, I mean, they also have a lot of characters to balance in the last episode as well.
True. The last episode is very filled.
Yeah,
and yet
so I feel
not
like...
at the same time.
Yeah.
But,
well, yes, so I think that's the thing. But yeah, there's a lot of returning characters. We got some obviously new characters with Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. A few memorable side characters. We got, obviously, Boba Fett is reintroduced in such a badass way, I might add.
I actually care about him now.
Boba Fett's such a great character. And you can actually say that now. Like, you can actually legitimately say he's a good character.
For the past 20-odd years of my life, ever since I started watching Star Wars, I've had no fucking care for Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He was just that
exactly.
fucking bounty hunter who got thrown into a pit. I was like, that's it. That's his whole character. And everyone's like, oh, look at him. Legends fills him out. I'm like, I'm not reading books to make this one side character better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair.
But then, lo and behold,
but he's good.
20 years later.
And it's really cool to see Tamara Morrison back as well. Like, I think he's really good in this.
That was the one casting thing I was oddly most excited about.
It was. I
was like, yeah, that's a really cool nod back to that, and it makes perfect sense.
Well, yeah, and not only that, like, you can't have Boba Fett, since Boba Fett is literally a clone of Jango Fett, you can't have Boba Fett in anything without him playing the role. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm glad that he's got a chance to come back and, like, really do this as well. This is a lot of fun, and he does a really good job. I love the Boba Fett we see in that first episode he's introduced, episode 6.
The kind of warrior monk Boba Fett.
That was some fucking good shit, man. And I really like that also Tamara brought some of his, like, New Zealand warrior culture into it as well.
Yes.
Which I thought was really cool. Like, it really just adds a whole, like, layer of depth to Boba Fett as a character. Like, he has this kind of, like, cult... I mean, yeah, it's just New Zealand cultural heritage. But, like, you know, in terms of, like the warrior side of things. But, like, it just adds this layer of depth to Boba Fett. Like, he isn't just a clone of Jango. Like, it's, you know, after... Like, he seems to have been, you know, learnt these things and been a part of this kind of culture within the Star Wars universe that...
Which is really good, because that's kind of how Boba Fett was always... Because Boba was the one clone that Jango was determined would never be a clone. It's like, you're my kid.
Yeah.
You're the only one.
And also, Boba Fett's the only clone that doesn't
have
age
the age
rapidly
restriction
as well. Yeah. Which is cool, but, like, I think, and it also says, like, maybe there's a lot more to Jango Fett as a character than we know, because it's been kind of, like, a bit back and forth over the years as to whether Jango Fett's an actual Mandalorian or not. I know now in official canon he is, but, like, there was a period of time where he wasn't actually a Mandalorian. But I like this idea that maybe this is, like, some of Boba Fett's cultural heritage, like that New Zealand cultural influence there. Maybe, like, part of this, like, subculture of Mandalorians that we don't know about. Maybe it's another cult.
Island of Mando Maoris. That's
oh my
awesome.
God, let's do that. Let's do it. Next season, let's get, like, a bunch of fucking New Zealand actors in. Let's get Taika Waititi back. And let's just have, like, a bunch of New Zealand fucking Mandalorians. That'd be so good. I'm on board for that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the characters. Now, obviously, we have Cara Dune returning this season as well. And as we all know, Gina Carano is no longer a part of this show moving forwed. So I want
whoopsie.
Yeah, she said some bad things. Which, to be fair, everyone's so focused on the fact that she's quote-unquote transphobic. She isn't really. Like, she just kind of refused to do something that a certain group of people wanted her to do. So then she did something as a joke and as a fuck you, which obviously comes across as transphobic. But to be fair, in her defense, in that particular case, Pedro Pascal was like, hey, you shouldn't do this. This is kind of making fun of this. And she took it down and she apologized for it. However, then there's all the other shit that she said. And, like, that's why everyone's, like, getting up in arms that she's being censored and she's being fired. No, she's not being fired because of one thing. She's being fired because she has done multiple things which have brought bad press, and because she's associated with The Mandalorian, it brings bad press to the show. So, I mean, Disney as a corporation really shouldn't be taking the high ground, but at the same time, it's just bad press. That's why she's being fired. Yeah. It's not any reason for what she's actually individually said. She's just caused a shitstorm.
That's how it works.
It's not a good look.
Let's face it, whenever someone gets fired, it's never because of what they actually said.
Yeah, it's always... And again, like, it comes back to this thing, you know, everyone's always like, oh, freedom of speech. It's like, yeah, freedom of speech. She can say whatever she fucking wants to say. But that doesn't mean that her employer can't fire her for saying it.
It takes all of 5 seconds not to post something on the internet.
Yeah. So, yeah, she said some problematic things. And, like, I'm not really offended by her trans part, like her... quote-unquote, again, transphobia, because I think she genuinely did something and then she just didn't know what she did was kind of offensive. So she did go back on that. But it's her other things, like she's an anti-masker. She's, you know, seems to be very much a part of that, like, Trump group of people. So, like, it's that kind of shit that's like, yeah, okay, fair enough, like... But I don't want to talk about Gina Carano, like, whatever. I want to talk about the character of Cara Dune because, like, do you think moving forward into season 3 they should recast this role, or do you think they should just, you know, just say that she's gone back off to be the sheriff of the place, like, and just kind of just leave it?
That was the whole point of her fucking character in season 1, and it got done.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have been back for season 2.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, like I don't have an issue with her being in season 2, because like as you said, her character arc's done, and you know she's just kind of there. And in season 2, to be fair, she's not really like she doesn't really have a character arc. She's just kind of there to help out Mando a couple of times.
I think that's kind of my only issue is she is just kind of there.
Yeah, she's like Graham and fucking Ryan in season 12 of Doctor Who. That's what she's like. They're literally like, your character arc is done. There is nothing else to do with your character, yet you're still here. That's what she's kind of like, in my opinion. But yeah, I personally think, I think, you know, there's no need to recast. Just say she's off, you know, she's maybe been, like, maybe she's no longer sheriff of that place or whatever. Or, now that Mando's story is off about Mandalorian, that she just never has to go back to that place again. And you can just say she's just gone off to fulfill her New Republic sheriff duties. You know, like, you don't have to explain it. It's fine. But yeah, let's talk about our favorite episodes.
Alright.
So do you have any, like, favorite individual episodes that comes to mind?
There's... it's a tight call for 2 episodes as my actual favorite.
Yeah. And can we bear in mind, let's not talk about the finale or the Ahsoka episode in either of these, because I've got them as separate points. So any of the other episodes, anything that comes to mind that stands out.
Okay, well, you've okay.
Sorry, I've just basically, like, limited you. But to be fair, there's a lot of great episodes, so I think you shouldn't have too much of an issue finding a favorite.
In terms of aesthetic, there's an episode I find my favorite because of the aesthetic, and that is the Ahsoka episode. But
yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a second anyway, so that's fine. We'll get to it.
I'd say, okay, I have two other episodes that kind of tie. I like the episode where Mando and Bill Burr go to the Empire's stronghold to get the information they need.
That's a great episode.
It between just Bill Burr's acting for someone who fucking hates Star Wars,
yeah, that is a really good episode, and that's a really good episode that explores into kind of the morality of both the rebellion and the Empire, you know, and like it really goes into thinking that, like, not everyone on that side is necessarily evil. Because Bill Burr's character was like, was he? Oh fuck, I can't remember his backstory. But was he a part, like, something to do with the Empire at some point?
I believe, yeah, he was a soldier in the Empire.
Okay, yeah,
he was a stormtrooper.
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing for that. The whole thing for that scene. Yeah, so it's actually interesting.
It's one of my favorite sequences.
Yeah.
Is
it's such a good scene.
Him breaking,
and it's also hilarious
pressure.
Because Pedro Pascal just look awkward as fuck, and it's amazing. But, like, that's a really good scene. I quite like it.
Because while the general's like, oh yeah, we did what we did to win the battle, and that's all that really matters. And also, I love that actor who plays the fucking general, lieutenant, whatever.
He's in
guy.
Doom.
He's in Kingsman. He's the fucking. He pops up in, like, a lot of films. Usually it's the creepy asshole, and I actually love him.
Yeah, he pops up in Doom, the movie, the 2005 movie, or whenever that was released, with The Rock and Carl Urban. He's in that, and he's fantastic in that. He's great. I love him so much.
But having him draw on about, like, oh yeah, you did it for a good cause, and then fucking Bill Burr's just in there like, yeah, I did. Yeah, and then he fucking shoots him. I'm like,
no,
because he broke under pressure, and I love that entire sequence. Is Bill Burr couldn't get over the PTSD, because honestly, most people don't, and he snapped, and they got away, thank God, and I love that.
Like, one of my favorite episodes. Like, I love the first episode. Like, that's just a bit of fun. I really enjoy that episode.
Was gonna be my other pick, because
It's really a cool little episode, and it also they brought that big fucking creature thingy to life. The great dragon, yeah, that was kind of cool. I liked seeing that. I love the like absolutely epic shots in that. Like that is like watching a fucking film. That thing, like, you know, like even so much so that the aspect ratio changes as well for that big scene at the end of the episode, like, because that was, I'm pretty sure that was Jon Favreau's episode, actually.
Yes, it was. I've got the episodes up next to me.
It was the first episode that Jon Favreau was actually directed, with this show, and like, yeah, that whole big sequence where they take down the dragon, like the aspect ratio changes to, I'm pretty sure it's a 239 or whatever it is. I should know this as someone who works in film. But, like, that aspect ratio changes, so it's more cinematic. And it's just for that sequence. Like, if you watch the rest of the episode, it's still in that 16 by 9. No, hang on. Mandalorian's not in a 16 by 9. What's Mandalorian in? Fuck. I don't know what it's in. But, like, yeah, the aspect ratio changes, and that's really fucking cool. I quite like that. It gives it that more cinematic feel, and I love those shots of, like, that big-ass fucking great dragon just coming out of the sand, and you see all the tiny people just running away. It's good shit. But that's a good episode. That's fun.
It also had the I don't know why I really enjoyed the fucking Tatooine ship mechanic coming back, or like the lady at the shipyard who just absolutely loves.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yoda, and I'm like, you're back. This is really fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice way to tie it into season 1. Yeah, I think like that's a lot of fun. And then another episode that I really like is the Bo-Katan episode.
I like most of it.
3. Episode 3, because episode 4's the one where they the Carl Weathers one.
Yes.
But yeah, I really like that episode. That was a lot of fun. Like just you know, I love just seeing Bo-Katan and all that just appear. That was really good. And then of course, like, I think, yeah, you know, episode 6 is a standout as well, just simply because of Boba Fett. I think that's a lot of fun, just seeing him just mow down goods, and that whole sequence at the end when he finally gets his armor back and he's just fucking mowing those guys down. It's great. I love it. Overall, like I said earlier, there's a lot of good episodes in this series. Like, I don't think there's a bad episode.
It is a lot more memorable than season 1.
I even enjoy the episode where they get stuck in the ice for a bit and there's the big ass spider thingies. That's a bit of fun.
I fucking hate that episode.
Nah, see, I enjoyed it. I
don't hate the episode, but as an arachnophobic...
Yeah, fair enough. But that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that episode a lot.
I like the frog lady.
Yeah, the frog lady's great. But yeah, I enjoyed those kind of things. But I think the episode that my favorite episode of the entire series, the best episode in the series, is the Ahsoka episode, which is episode number 5. That's Dave Filoni's episode. And one thing about this is everyone was a little cautious about this because Dave Filoni's episode last season wasn't that great. But I've always got faith in my boy. You know, Dave Filoni's my boy. He's fine. He can do no wrong. The opening scene, like, they just went straight in it with Ahsoka. They were like, you know what? This is what you're waiting for. Straight away. First 30 fucking seconds, here she is. I don't think it would have
mattered if we were waiting for it. It's Dave Filoni. Any chance he gets to put Ahsoka into something, he'll do it.
And rightly so, in my view. She's the best Star Wars character. But I do enjoy that opening scene's really well shot, and I love the whole idea of her, like, she is literally an assassin. She's in the shadows, and you kind of like see those moments where, like, you know, she'll have the lightsabers on. It's all dark, and then the lightsabers like light up. And I really like for these modern Star Wars projects that they're actually using lightsabers with the reflective light, so you actually see the lightsabers, you know, on the actor's face, as well. Like, we remember in the prequels they would turn the lightsaber on and you just wouldn't have any kind of lighting for it whatsoever. The only time they did that is in episode 2, in that one, those really bad lightsaber shots in episode 2 Count Dooku and Anakin fighting each other, and you just see them kind of whirling the lightsaber around their head as someone's moving lights to make it look like that looks really bad. But that's like the only time they did that kind of thing. Like any other time in the prequels, you know, they would just turn the lightsaber on, but there was no kind of like lighting or anything. So I really like that in the sequel trilogy and in The Mandalorian, they're actually using properly lit lightsabers.
Lightsabers are just sexy now.
They're just sexy.
Let's just put that out there.
I love that shot of like Ahsoka behind the guy, and then she like pulls both lightsabers up to her face and then like activates them as she pulls them apart. That's so cool. That's a cool
I'm
shot.
an absolute sucker for all of those hallway scene callbacks. You know, like when Vader activates his lightsaber behind the fog in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And you just see the red show up through the fog. I'm a sucker for whenever that happens. So when Ahsoka did it behind the smoke screen.
Yeah.
And
it
the
looks really
two
good.
white lightsabers pop up. Because white lightsabers and yellow lightsabers. Beautiful. Magnifique.
Yeah. You watch when Ubisoft makes their open world Star Wars game. You watch that'll be paid DLC. If you want a yellow lightsaber, you'll have to buy it with Helix credits.
Or you have to talk to the traveling merchant every day.
Yeah.
You might get it.
Well, here's the thing about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is literally what they will do with an open world Star Wars game. Is they will lock half the game's content behind this fucking Helix store. Because that's literally what they've done with Valhalla.
Yeah, it's really
like,
disgusting, that.
They've literally taken... They've taken like half the gear sets in the game, and the only way you can get them is behind these paywalls.
It's actually now more than half. There's actually more DLC suits.
Well, there's
than
more
there are
DLC shit
in-game.
now. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. And that's what they will do with the Star Wars game. They'll be like, do you want a fucking purple lightsaber like Mace Windu? Well, first you gotta go and spend like $5 on it for real. Oh, fuck off. I'm not doing that. They will do it, because that's what Ubisoft does.
Yeah, sadly, that's true.
But yeah, you know, you want your yellow lightsaber? Fucking pay for it.
No.
That's why Ahsoka's just got the boring white lightsabers, because she's not fucking paying Ubisoft credits to give her a bit of color. You know, because back in the prequel trilogy days, there weren't microtransactions, but now here we are. We've got microtransactions now, and so she's like, "Fuck it, I'm not paying this shit. I'm not paying Ubisoft. Instead, I'll just have my white lightsabers."
Mando needs a sharp card to get the Razor Crest back every time.
Exactly, yeah. That's why he's like, you know what? That thing's blown up. It's gone. It's fine, because he's just like, I'm not fucking, paying Rockstar for a fucking ship. This is all official Star Wars canon, by the way. I will say, though, the white lightsabers look great.
They do.
Yeah. But that episode is a big homage to
The original
samurai films and
influence.
things like that.
Which is funny, because it's actually got two it kind of does that weird line. It homages the samurai films,
Yeah.
which are the direct influence for Star Wars. And then
Yeah.
it homages the Western films, which were also influenced by those samurai films.
It's good shit, man. You know, it's just like poetry. It rhymes.
It is, I'm not as big on the story. It's not my favorite episode in the season.
Oh, yeah, story-wise, it's very much a case of, like, it's pretty bare bones and basic. You know, you've got this town, and we're going to go and free this oppressed town or whatever. But, like, I mean, the episode's not really about that, really. The episode's more like...
Here's what Ahsoka's up to nowadays.
Here's what Ahsoka's doing, but also this episode... It's a means to an end for Ahsoka, but also this episode's about Mando and Yoda... Mando and Grogu meeting Ahsoka, and, like, this is their kind of first interaction with a Jedi, and that's kind of what it's about. It kind of fills into the overall arc for the season, rather than being like an episode on its own.
But it 100% comes
but
across
it works.
As season 2 had a lot of pilot episodes.
Yeah, a lot of setup for
Yeah, a lot of backdoor
spin-offs.
pilots.
This is one of them, by the way.
Especially,
but like,
yeah.
I think this is the best one though.
There's something cool about Ahsoka lining up the battle with fucking the Beskar spear lady. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, the Beskar spear lady. Yeah.
And Mando in the street with his Western thing going on, with Michael Biehn, both of them ready to draw. Which I didn't realize it was Michael Biehn.
Kyle Reese himself.
I looked in the credits. I was like, who the fuck did he play?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good episode all around, and it's I think genuinely one of the best shot episodes of the whole season.
The aesthetic is amazing.
Not just the aesthetic, but like the individual shots, the frame composition, like that shot of Ahsoka holding that wide shot of Ahsoka holding Yoda in the forest at night. Mwah. Looks so good. It's like that wide shot. I don't know if you remember it, but it's like a wide shot that cuts away after, her and Grogu have that kind of telepathic communication conversation. Which, by the way, is conveyed very well. Like, there's not a single line of dialogue. Oh, shit. There's not a single line of dialogue in that moment. But it's just... Like, in that moment, it's all conveyed through the looks Yoda and Baby Yoda and Ahsoka give each other. And it's great. Like, you can see they're having a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
But yet they're not speaking. It's great. But it's just after that, when she picks him up to go back down and you just see that wide shot. It's beautiful. I love it. And there's a lot of really great shot composition in this, a lot of great framing. In the Ahsoka duel at the very end, there's so many awesome just individual shots that like you could print out and put as a wallpaper because 100%. It looks so fucking good. And another great thing about the reflective lightsabers that they use, the lights, when they have that wide shot, when they're just in the standoff after I think they've like hit each other a few times or whatever, and then they're in that little standoff moment, and there's a wide shot, which is again is very much like that samurai, but is also very much like a Western in a lot of ways. But you see the water in like the forefront of the frame, and you just see the lightsaber reflection of the water. Like you wouldn't be able just to do that, and so the fact that they've got that reflective, it really adds just more realism to it. So fucking good. Look, we should move on from this episode. I could talk about this episode for fucking ages, but one thing I do want to talk about is Ahsoka herself. What did you think of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano?
She's alright.
She's alright. She's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's pretty good. I think she does... It's very hard because, like, obviously I have that attachment. Like, when they announced the Ahsoka show... I was hoping it would be animated and it would be with Ashley Eckstein because she's just Ahsoka. So I was a bit disappointed. I was in two minds about learning that it's going to be a live-action Ahsoka show with Rosario Dawson because I'm like, yeah, Rosario Dawson was great in that episode. Like, I think she does a really good job at playing that kind of bit more older, more mature Ahsoka. But also at the same time, I'm like, she's not Ashley Eckstein, Like, she's just not that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in two minds about it. I was like, I would love to see this because, like, here's the thing. You don't get an actress like Rosario Dawson for one small role in one episode.
Exactly.
Like, you don't do it. Like, of course you're going to use her. So it's fine. But I think she does a good job in general. Like, I think she does a really good job at bringing that Ahsoka personality to a live action format. She even looked at, like, she worked a lot on, lightsaber stances and, like, how does Ahsoka in the anime, in the Clone Wars and Rebels. Yeah, in Clone Wars and Rebels, how does, Ahsoka, when she's, got, like, how's her lightsaber stance? What's her fighting style like? And she spent a lot of time, like, she worked with stunt coordinate, like, obviously, stuntmen, to really hone in on getting Ahsoka's lightsaber fighting style right. So it's not just like her just being a live action Ahsoka. It's actually Ahsoka. But another thing they also did was also incorporate a lot of samurai elements into her fighting style for the live action, which I really appreciate. I thought that was kind of cool. Let's move on. to whatever I've written down next. Okay, the finale.
Yes.
It's a good episode.
It is a good episode. It's a very good base under siege episode.
It's really good. Yeah, it's a fun episode. I do love, and again, speaking of lighting effects, the effects of the Darksaber. Oh,
beautiful.
Especially when he's like waving it over Baby Yoda's head. The reflections of the light and everything is really good. I do like that whole episode, and there's not a lot I want to say about the episode itself. Like, it's pretty decent. They go back to get Baby Yoda because, as something we haven't actually mentioned yet, Grogu gets kidnapped in episode 6. So episode 8 is all about by Moff Gideon. So episode 8 is all about going and rescuing him. Mandalorian puts together a team.
He's little. I guess you could call them some sort of suicide squad.
Fucking Boba Fett does nothing in this episode. He literally drops them off and fucks off.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that, which we will get to at the end.
But like, come on, like, you've had one moment of Boba Fett action this entire series. The rest of the series he's been doing nothing. So, like, it would have been great to have him more involved, but it's fine. It's fine. You've got Bo-Katan there. You've got the gang.
Realized I don't think I'm actually talking about the same moment that you think I'm talking about.
It's fine. We'll talk about it in a
there.
bit. But, obviously the big thing from this episode is the ending. And I think that's the only thing really worth talking about.
I would like to bring up Giancarlo Esposito. I fucking love... He's the guy who plays Moff Gideon.
Oh, yeah. No,
I fucking love him throughout all of the beginning of the episode.
He's really great in this episode, just in general.
Throughout the whole episode, he's great, but I love it when he's toying with Mando and Yoda in the cell.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah. Yeah, no, he's a really good actor, and like he's been consistently great throughout, obviously, the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
He's a really good actor, really good casting choice. He just plays this role well.
Yeah.
He plays that villainous role just so well. And obviously casting people have picked up on that because he seems to play a lot of villains.
He's Far Cry 6, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
Yeah, he's really good. So, look, hey, if it's one of his strengths, fucking go for it. But he's really good in this. I really like him. There's the fight between him and Mando, which I thought was really good. One thing I don't like about this episode is the fucking Dark Troopers.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. I think it's just because there's just something really off about them, and I think it's just the moment where they're like all being activated and then they're kind of like marching towards the door. It just kind of looks a bit silly. Like it doesn't look right. Like, I mean, I do know that the Dark Troopers were people in suits with CGI enhancements, but for some reason, I don't know, in just that one sequence, the CGI just looks off. There's just something off about it.
I think the highlight of them in the episode is actually the tension as it leads up to them waking up.
Yeah, that's where they're good. Once they start actually doing shit, I'm like,
Although I did like Mando getting his face punched into a wall.
No, that was good. And actually, that's one thing I want to say. That one Dark Trooper was great, and I think it works best when there's one of them.
Yeah,
one moment. When there's multiple of them together, it just looks weird. Like I was even watching that, and I was like, because at this point I didn't realize, I thought they were all CGI at this point when I was watching it, and I was like, this just looks weird. This doesn't look right. There's something just really off about this CGI. But then I found out they were actually people in suits, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But like, the CGI enhancement, there was just something off about seeing like 20 of them, 10 of them at once, or however many of them it was. It was just weird.
It had quite a few when it was just the solo one, and I am a sucker for Terminator as well.
Yeah, it was very Terminator, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I absolutely love just that one Dark Trooper against Mando. It was pretty much just a homage to Terminator 1 and 2 for a few minutes there.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good.
And then he gets power fisted into a wall.
But obviously the big thing from this episode, and like we could go into detail and talk about the characters and like all the bits of the episode, but really all it is raid the ship, take Baby Yoda and get him out. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
But the big episode at the moment of the episode is obviously they've taken down Moff Gideon. Now, this is one moment I like, and I want to talk about the Luke Skywalker thing in a sec, but it's the moment where Mando has the Darksaber, and you know, because obviously Bo-Katan's whole motivation against Moff Gideon is to get the Darksaber back because, you know, it's rightfully hers, right?
Yeah.
And then Mando takes it. And then you have that whole bit where they're just standing there and Moff Gideon's just laughing because I guess Moff Gideon knows a lot about Mandalorian culture, I guess.
I mean, I guess you'd have to follow it a bit to get the Darksaber.
Yeah, I guess so. But he's got the Darksaber and he's laughing because he realizes that, you know, everyone knows. The only person that doesn't know is Mando because obviously he's from a very certain section of Mandalorian culture, so he wouldn't be familiar with the Darksaber as much. And so Mando's just like, yeah, just take it. And Bo-Katan's like,
I can't do
she doesn't
that.
say anything, but she's like, you can see she's like, I can't just take it.
Which
like,
let's just put it out there that's a retcon and is bullshit.
yeah, I mean, I guess, but it is like
it
a
was
really
passed
good...
around like a fucking hot potato in the Clone Wars. Let's not pretend.
But is it like something that's like, do you have to kill your opponent or you just have to defeat them to get the Darksaber? It's a little bit like, well, what is it?
I think it, because fucking in Clone Wars, they pretty much just palmed it off.
Also, Sabine has it for a while too.
Yeah, everyone just kind of takes it.
And Sabine just kind of gives it back. So I don't know what it is, but I do like the idea of it though, because it does give that kind of little, like, moving into season 3, there's going to be that kind of tension between Bo-Katan and Mando, because like even though they have the same objective, you know, Bo-Katan's really wanted this thing and now someone else has it and she can't have it. And so I think there's going to be a bit of tension, and it's going to lead to a face-off between the two of them, which is probably going to end with I'm calling you right now, it's probably going to end with some kind of arc for Bo-Katan where she's like, oh, you know what, we don't need this fucking ritual bullshit, you know, and she will just accept it. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. Like, I think there will be a face-off. I think Mando will have the Darksaber and she'll probably have the Beskar spear or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll have this little fight. They'll have this little tuffle, if you will. And then it's going to end with a Martha moment. Where they're both going to find out their mother's names are Martha, and they're going to be like, you know what, this is fine, you can have the Darksaber. No, what's going to happen is they're going to fight, and then it's going to get to a point where they realize, I would really like to see it get to a point where Bo-Katan is literally absolutely smashing the shit out of Pedro Pascal, and it's like literally like maybe he's got his helmet off and he's like, you know, whatever, and then like she's like literally like, I'm like, because I think she would be so committed that she would just kill him. 100%, she would just kill him. So I'm interested to see how it plays out, but it's a good setup for a couple of character arcs, which I'm really excited to see how that plays out. But and I'm gonna try my best. I'm not gonna go on a rant about this. In fact, I've set a timer for 5 minutes for this whole bit. So let's talk about Luke Skywalker. So at the end of the episode, they're all trapped in the fucking bridge. There's no way out.
Death truth, whatever. Crowded the hallway. They're fucked if they even leave that room, and they're fucked if they stay in there.
Yeah, there's literally nothing they can do. There's their final stand. And then you see you hear, well, I think it's like something's coming out of the ship's coming out of hyperspace. It's like the New Republic has sent a ship, and it's like, oh, they've sent one ship, and you just see the X-Wing fly past, and it's just like, yeah, okay, so we all know who this is. It's Luke Skywalker, obviously. But then I do like that, you know, it cuts to Baby Yoda, and the music kind of starts to kind of fade in a little bit, and you see Baby Yoda like feel through the Force that it's a Jedi and like, you know, who it is. But then we get, and this is a great sequence, by the way. Like, I want to say, like, for as much as I don't like this whole thing, it's a great sequence just on its own. Like, if you just had it on its own, it's fantastic.
My favorite thing throughout the whole sequence while it happens, from the X-Wing landing, is just Moff Gideon's face.
Yeah, because he's just like, oh, fuck.
He slowly goes through all the stages of fucking denial, and then goes into fucking panic mode. Like, he thought he had won because Bo-Katan was like... Wait, was that before or after? When did the Darksaber standoff happen? Before?
No, that was before. That was before.
So he's like, this whole thing happened, and then the X-Wing shows up, and he just has no happy moments from there on out.
Yeah. Because it's one of the cases, like... Because even if he gets captured, he's accomplished his mission already. Like, because didn't he, like, take a blood sample or something from...
Yes.
Yeah. So he's already accomplished his mission. It doesn't matter to him if he has Grogu anymore, because he's already won. He's already got it. And then the whole thing with the Darksaber is just a bit of personal satisfaction to him. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter to him anymore. Like, it doesn't matter if he gets captured. It's irrelevant because he's won. He's achieved his goals, and he's also got a bit of a personal gripe, like the satisfaction from that little gripe with Bo-Katan, I guess. So he's just like fucking reveling in it. He's just loving it. And then, Luke Skywalker turns up and he realizes, oh, fuck. You know, because he knows, like, and he also knows that because he's in that room and because he's the leader, he's not going to be the one to die. Everyone else is going to get fucking slaughtered and he'll be fine. So, like, regardless of the situation, even if they get out of it, you know, and it gets captured, he's still won. But he's also going to get that satisfaction of seeing all of his enemies die in front of him. And he's won either way.
And then the plan gets tossed on its fucking head. Yeah.
And Luke Skywalker shows up, and he's just, like, it is actually,
Darth
like...
Vader's the shit out of everybody.
Well, here's the thing. Not throughout the whole sequence, but there is a very particular point in that sequence that is literally shot for shot the Rogue One ending, but with Luke instead. It's the exact same shots, the exact same timing and pacing, and almost the very similar... Like, obviously, it's a different context, but, like, it's very similar choreography in a place. And so it's like one space. It's that when he comes up the lift to that, and then he, you know, is fighting his way through. Like, it's from that moment up until the moment at the end when he grabs the droid and, like, squishes him. It's all shot for shot, exactly the same. Like, if you put those two sequences together next to each other and play them at the same time, it's exactly the same. And I really love that homage. That's nice because, like, the best thing about Rogue One is that scene.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm glad that they're paying homage to it, you know, like father like son almost.
It really buffs up
it's really
Luke.
Good. Yeah. It's a really good sequence, and it definitely shows the power that Luke Skywalker had in his prime. My issue with it comes from the fact that it's not what I want to see in this show. This is not why I watch this show. I mean, what do you think of it first? Before I like briefly discuss my thought process on that. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Okay, so my thoughts are a bit divided because of other news about the series. Basically, the fact that next year we are getting season 3, or this year, sorry.
Right.
This year we are getting season 3. If we were taking a break, I actually wouldn't fully mind.
Yeah.
The end of season 2. I do like it for the most part. I think Luke acts. I'm leaving the CGI out of this.
Like let's not even get to how bad it looks.
I think it was a natural endpoint of Grogu being handed off finally.
Yeah, it does feel like an ending, doesn't it? Like, it really feels like, and I know they literally spend the whole season setting up other shit, but, like, it feels like an ending. Like, if the show ended here, it's a satisfying ending.
Exactly, and that's why I would have had no issue with it. And then they were like, yeah, season 3 is happening alongside the other thing we're going to talk about. I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So, because as we've clearly established the best part of Mandalorian is Mando and Grogu doing things across the galaxy.
It's very much them too. So I mean, I'd be interested to see what they do with season 3, because obviously we got some new characters in the show now, and obviously there's going to be a very different thing happening in season 3 to what season 1 and 2 has been. And like, as much as I would just rather Mandalorian just be a bounty hunter and it's just him collecting bounties and shit, I would love to see that. Like, you very much can't go back to that now with his character. Like, you very much put him on this character journey that you can't just go back to him being a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do. Obviously, they've set up a Mandalore arc and things like that, so I'll be interested to see what they do. But no, I do agree with you. It does feel like an ending, and you know, like, I'm not really that fussed about it in the sense because I have my own problems with this, but like, you know, whatever. If they did a season 3, if they didn't do a season 3, I think just as an ending, it works.
Yeah.
And it's fine. My issue with it, and I'll just keep this brief, but my issue with this is literally, I don't watch Mandalorian for the larger Star Wars universe. I don't care about the Skywalker saga or any of that shit. Like, you've got those movies, they do their thing. Mandalorian's been doing its own thing, and that's what I watch it for. I like what Mandalorian is doing, not necessarily in the context of the larger universe. You know, I like that this is a small scale, well, in season 1 it's a small scale show, you know, like, I like that each week it's a different thing in a different part of this area of the galaxy, and it's just with people, you know, like, it's not Jedi, it's not Sith, it's not, you know, Empire or Rebellion or anything. It's just people, and that's what I love about the show. And having Ahsoka in it, I mean, look, you can have Bo-Katan in it because that kind of works with the whole Mandalorian culture, but having Ahsoka in it is already pushing it. And I get, like, you know what, I'm gonna let that slide because, like, Ahsoka's my favorite character, and, you know, I think that episode's really good as a standalone episode too. Like, if Ahsoka was not in anything else, you know, I still think that episode works.
Yeah.
Even if Ahsoka wasn't, like, a major character in the Star Wars universe. But yeah, like, Luke Skywalker appearing is kind of like that point where I'm just like, see, now I just don't care. I don't care about this at all because, like, yes, it's obviously, when you think about it, who else is going to turn up? Obviously, it's going to be Luke,
it's
and obviously that's the natural.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Ghost Obi-Wan comes up and picks up Yoda and is like, fuck off. And just fucks off. See you later. See you in the Obi-Wan series.
I'm just amazed by the amount of people I saw online going, I was so surprised it was Luke. And I'm like, who else
what do you
could
mean?
it have
So
been?
who else would it have been?
Every other
but I think
Jedi
it's very
was
much
dead.
I think it's very much a moment of, it's so obvious that that's how the story's going to play out, but it's still surprising in the moment.
You kind of trick yourself out of it. You're like,
yeah,
they wouldn't do Luke. It's too obvious that it's Luke.
you see the X-Wing and then you're just like, no,
Yeah, the
they're
X-Wing's
doing
the real kicker. You're like, it can't be anyone else.
Like, I like the individual moment. Like, if you just had that moment on its own, like, let's say I was watching that moment on YouTube, right? Like, I love it. And I still do love it. Like, it's a great moment on its own. But for me, I'm not interested in it. That's not what I watched this show for. And I'm not interested in the Skywalker saga. Like, the Skywalker saga is done. It's finished. We don't need to keep seeing Luke Skywalker. We don't need to keep seeing all these characters. Like, it's finished. Just give me new shit. And that's what The Mandalorian did, right? Like, yes, it's set after episode 6, but that's also a period of time that's not really explored, right? Give me new characters. And that's what this show has done. And then they're like, nah, you know what? Let's just throw Luke Skywalker in. And I'm like, really? Like,
I don't
really
fully blame them because there is a very... the Disney's decision to throw out Legends has made that period of time a very large black hole.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the comics and this are peak Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
The only other context you have for Luke as a character past episode 6 in the Disney version is the sequel
Is the
trilogy.
Last Jedi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of, I think, reaffirming to people who don't read the comics and things. And it is kind of sad that it had to happen for Mando, but it also made the most sense that it happens for Mando.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this is the thing. I think Luke Skywalker appearing in this at all is literally just a reaction to the reaction to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
It's showing that, yeah, he was still a badass, don't worry. Which is stupid, because I think Luke was pretty badass in Last Jedi, too.
Yeah. But here's the thing, like, I don't think... Like, I mean, obviously, like, and as we said, like, it's the natural ending for this story arc, and I get that. I get it. It's fine. It's fine. I don't hate this. That's what I'm like. I'm not saying that I hate it. All I'm saying is I don't like it because it's not what I'm interested in.
Fair.
You know, I'm not interested in this. You know, so what I want from season 3 is less of this. And I don't think we'll see Ahsoka again because I think, you know, although...
She's got her own show now.
She's got her own show. That's fine. I don't want to see that. Like, that's why I said if he's reunited with Baby Yoda, I don't want to see Luke again. Just say Luke's off fucking, you know, somewhere with Leia and, like, Han and doing something. Like, you don't need to physically see him. But I would be fine with them going to the Jedi Temple... not the Jedi, the little Jedi training thing that Luke set up, and there being a reuniting. We just don't need to see the characters. I'm not interested in seeing Luke, Leia, Han, any of these characters, because it's done. It's finished. Let it end, and let's move on and do some new shit. And that's what I'm excited about, because even though that's a natural segue into what we're going to talk about, we still need to wrap up the end of the season. So, Lewin, that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't like it for those reasons, but what did... As a season as a whole, how are you feeling about Mando Season 2?
Vastly same-ish, but better than Season 1. And if it does feel like the first 2 seasons are their own little collected bubble in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Because now it's getting bigger. It's going to keep getting bigger. And
that's my problem. That's why I'm worried about Season 3. So here's my thing. This is what I want from Season 3. I want it to focus solely on the Taking Back Mandalore arc. I want it to just be about that. I'm not tied into anything else. I want it to be like, right, we've got a section of the remnants of the Empire still in control of Mandalore. I want it to be about that. I would be even happy if it wasn't a full season. I'd be happy if it was like a few episode mini-series. I'd be fine with that. Obviously, they're not going to do that. They're going to do 8 episodes again.
I'm willing to bet Mando from now on is staying... I think it's going to stay a little bit away from connecting into the sequels the way it has been.
Yeah.
Because it's done its part. The cloning's explained and all that. You know how Snoke and Palpatine fucking happen now. I think Heroes of the New Republic is probably going to be the one that's going to push the First Order showing up.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, right? Yeah. But, like, yeah, in terms of Mandalorian Season 3, and we're still just specifically on that, I do think... I think Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be a lot more focused on this is what's going to happen, like, taking back Mandalore. I wanted to focus more on character, because there was some character arcs in this season, but I wanted to focus a lot more on Mando as a character, and they've set up his character arc with the Mandalorian kind of culture and his, I guess, belief systems. So now I want them to expand on that and actually make that the focus. And again, I'm not opposed to seeing Grogu again. That's fine. Obviously, we know they're going to do it because Grogu makes Disney a lot of money, so... You know, chuck him in. Maybe send out a free Grogu plush with every Disney Plus subscription. How about that? But yeah, like I think that's what I want to see from Mandalorian Season 3. I want to see something a bit more focused, a bit more reined in on Mandalorian culture. And the show is called The Mandalorian, so let's make it about Mandalorians. But obviously this brings us to pretty much the end of the podcast. And just briefly... as we said, Mando is a setup for future Star Wars stuff as well. And we've got a lot of Star Wars coming our way. Obviously, the big announcement was the Book of Boba Fett, which is going to be a spin-off Mandalorian show that's going to be airing in December this year. So it's interesting. Is does that mean like, we don't know a lot about this show. Like, it could just be like a mini series, a couple of episodes. It could be a fucking film. Like, do we know it's definitely a series? Like, I don't know if we do.
I'm not sure. You're right. We don't. I think it will be a series, but we don't have a definitive answer.
Oh, it says television series, so I'm going to assume it's going to be probably 8 episodes. Yeah, it doesn't really say anything. It just says it's set. Yeah, series is set to premiere December 2021. So does this mean then that Mandalorian's going to air earlier than October? Because both seasons of Mandalorian have aired at the end of October and run through November and December. Does this mean this is going to end earlier now and we're going to get it in like September?
Potentially, so that they don't clash.
Because they're not going to have both shows going at once. I reckon what's going to happen is what you're seeing with both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier right now is WandaVision is going to end, and then there's going to be a week break, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts for 9 weeks. I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Mandalorian will start a few weeks earlier than it normally does. It'll finish, there'll be a week break, and then the Book of Boba Fett will start. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, that sounds like it probably sounds about right.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Book of Boba Fett.
I think it'd be cool. We know nothing about it, just that it's going to focus on.
It's why I kind of don't want
Fett.
Mando season 3 this year, because Book of Boba Fett feels like it's a nice little break season, like.
Yeah, and everyone was kind of confused too, because people were
I thought it was season
Book
3.
Of Boba Fett is Book of Boba Fett season 3. Like, because at the end, you know how they just came up with the Book of Boba Fett December, and then we're like, so is this just like a subtitle? Like, this show is like season 3 is going to have the subtitle of Book of Boba Fett, and it's going to be about Boba Fett. But no, it is it's a spin-off alongside Rangers of the New Republic. So we seem to be doing this. I mean, Lucasfilm refer to it as the Mandalorian timeline. But basically all that means is it's literally in this same era that the Mandalorian takes place, which is post episode 6.
Which, in every other bit of media, like in the High Republic stuff, they've got a little timeline. They refer to it as, just the New Republic, and the only thing in there is the Mandalorian.
Yeah, so we've got, this interesting little era of shows coming where we've got the Book of Boba Fett, we've got Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka, and all of these shows are going to be set around the same time. I'm pretty sure we're only getting Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian this year, but then I think we might be getting Ahsoka next year.
I think Vision starts next year.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff.
It just says... Yeah, we don't know exactly when everything's coming, but we do know that these 3 shows are connected to each other. Sorry, 4 shows, actually. The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka are all connected to each other, and it's apparently going to culminate in a climactic story event.
Which, it's Thrawn.
Yeah.
It's Thrawn.
Yeah.
Which I have not watched Rebels all the way through, so I've got no fucking clue what his deal is, and I'm looking forward to finding out about that.
Yeah, well, you'll need to watch Rebels all the way through to watch the Ahsoka show.
Yeah.
Because the Ahsoka show is definitely going to be connected to that. I'm hoping they announce Sabine is going to be in... Oh my god, what if they did that with Mandalorian season? Because Sabine is Mandalorian. What if they introduced Sabine in Mandalorian season 3, and then she was in the Ahsoka show? Because like Rebels ends with Sabine and Ahsoka post episode 6 going off to find Ezra. So wouldn't it be cool if maybe Sabine's sidelined for a little bit to help out with Mandalore? Because she would. That's cool. They should do that. There is absolutely no reason why Sabine can't turn up next season.
I think Sabine will show up in the live action verse soon.
Yeah, she'll definitely be. I reckon she'll definitely be in Ahsoka because it's tied into that storyline. But I want to see her in Mandalorian because it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it just makes sense to put her in there.
Oddly enough, the only thing I really want from Ahsoka is one flashback of Rex, because I don't think Rex is alive anymore. But
no, Rex should be alive.
He was alive at the end of episode 6, but
yeah. Oh, they can just say he's alive. Just get to Tamara Morrison. Like, just put a fucking fake beard on him. It's fine. He's Rex.
Because I love Rex.
Yeah, but so that's a show obviously coming. So those shows are kind of all connected together. Obviously, we don't know a lot about Rangers of the New Republic, only that it's, connected to these other shows, and it's going to kind of have its own thing going on as well. But then we've got a bunch of other shows coming as well. We've got way too many Star Wars shows coming. It's actually absurd the amount of Star Wars shows we have coming.
Yeah, it's weird. You go through a 10-year drought with no fucking media, and then...
And then not only that, like out of nowhere, like most of these are produced or show-run by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Most of these. Not all of them, but most of them. Which is good. This is what I've wanted to see, because I think having them two as the creative minds behind Star Wars, I think is really going to really help just Star Wars moving forward, just as a brand.
And Jon Favreau has experience in this kind of shit before, obviously. Whilst he isn't like the main figurehead of the MCU, he at least knows the format.
Yeah. And not only that, but he was also, like, obviously he directed Iron Man 1 and 2, he
kickstarted it.
He was very heavily involved in those films. And I would be, obviously, I'm sure he's been... heavily involved in, other bits and pieces here and there. I feel like, but like having them two, especially, like Dave Filoni should have been in charge from the start, quite frankly. I guarantee you, if Dave Filoni, because Dave Filoni is like, yes, Kathleen Kennedy is like Lucasfilm's head, like when George Lucas steps down, she's obviously the next to take place. But Kathleen Kennedy isn't a creative. She's a producer.
Yeah.
And I think having her be in charge of the productions and having her be in charge of the money side of things, the business side of things. But I think Dave Filoni is George Lucas's understudy. You know what I mean? Like Dave Filoni,
the dude
George
drinks
Lucas's
Star Wars. He breathes it.
Oh my god, Dave Filoni literally exists for Star Wars. Like his whole purpose in life is fucking Star Wars. So like I get like, but not only that, because Dave Filoni has that really good relationship with George Lucas and has that really close connection to George, but not to George himself, but to George's vision. I think like he just gets Star Wars, and Jon Favreau has proven himself with The Mandalorian that he gets it. They just both get it. So, honestly, Dave Filoni should have been in charge from the start, and he was just relegated to do Rebels. They were like, well, you've done Clone Wars, that's been successful, go make Rebels for us. And then I think he was also the showrunner of Resistance or whatever.
Yeah, he was. But I don't think he had as much involvement in that.
Nah, not from the writing side, but he was just show running. But like, he's the creative mind, and he should be the one running the place.
Yeah.
So it's actually good to see him and Jon Favreau involved, and I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked this up, but I'm pretty sure they're also producing the film as well that Patty Jenkins is doing. The Rogue Squadron film or whatever it's called.
I look forward to it. It's not like the highest of hype list, but it should be interesting.
It's literally something I'm not really that interested in just in general, because we don't know anything about it. We just know, Rogue Squadron. It's a movie coming out, but I'm pretty sure they're producing that as well.
Look, I'm happy for just Top Gun in space.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, there's a lot of exciting things coming. Other than that, like they're like obviously the main shows. Apart from that, we've got Andor, which is honestly a show I don't give a shit about in the slightest.
Kind of same.
And probably not gonna watch it, to be honest. I'll tell you what, I will watch it if it's good. Like if I hear it's good, I'll watch it. But because I literally don't like Rogue One, and so anything that's even associated with that film, I'm like, I don't care.
I love Rogue One, but I still don't care about.
Well, Cassian Andor, there's no characters in that film. That's the thing. There's not a single character in that film. So Cassian Andor isn't a character. So, like, why would I care about a show about him?
But he's been in this war since he was 6 years old. That's why they're making this series.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. I forgot. My bad.
How dare you.
Do you know what? It's weird, though, because it says here that in April 2019, Alan Tudyk was confirmed to be reprising his role of K2SO, except how I've heard differently. I've heard he's not in it. So maybe that was like a thing for a bit, and now he's not.
I mean, it's taken a while to get this show off the ground.
Yeah. But also, like, who fucking cares, honestly? Apparently, it's going to be like a spy espionage thriller type show, so I'm interested in that aspect, but unless you can actually, like, make this a good show, because I don't actually think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are involved with this one.
No, I'm fairly... I don't think so.
They're not. I don't think they're involved in this at all. Hold on. CEO Bob Iger, blah, 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 blah. No, they're not involved with this. So, yeah, look, who cares, really, honestly? Who gives a shit? But do you know what show I care about? And see, this is the thing. You know, a second ago I was criticizing shit for being connected to the Skywalker saga. But do you know, I'm fine with it when it's appropriate.
If it's built around Kenobi, it.
And yeah, if it's not like a separate thing and then they shoehorn it in. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, I am keen as fuck.
Fuck yeah.
I cannot wait for that show.
I'm always happy to revisit the
so
prequel era. Or like the mid-quel era there.
Yeah, and that show has obviously had a very rough
developmental
production history. You know, it started out as a film that was then cancelled because of Solo bombing.
Which sucks, because Solo's not a bad film.
Yeah. But what's interesting about it is this is actually being produced and headed up by Deborah Chow. Now, Deborah Chow is a director, filmmaker, screenwriter. And she has worked on The Mandalorian. She's done... I can't remember exactly which episode of The Mandalorian she did, but she has done that. Oh yeah, she did. She did episode 3, The Sin of season 1, and she did the first part of the finale as well. And both of those are really good episodes. So she's done work on, you know, other things. You know, she's done a bit of American Gods. She's done a bit of Walking Dead here and there. She did a bit of Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and things like that. But what I'm excited for with her is she's show running this, and she has proven herself to be a good scriptwriter. She's proven herself to be a good director, so I'm really excited to see what she does with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Hayden Christensen is back, baby.
So long as they never meet, I'm happy.
I don't think they'll meet. I think what will happen is it will be kind of like I'm pretty sure we talked about this on the podcast last year, did we? Or maybe we just talked about it. I don't know. I can't remember. But I think what it'll be is like either flashbacks, or it'll be like visions, or, you know, maybe they communicate with each other telepathically.
Yeah.
They're not going to physically meet. And if they do, this show will be shit. Straight up, if they physically meet in any way, this is a bad show. It doesn't matter how good the individual show is. It's a bad show, and it's bad Star Wars because you can't have them meet. So, but I don't think they will. Like, there's a good team behind it. I don't think they're going to do something so stupid. I think what's going to happen is... But also, it's weird with the wording. It says Hayden Christensen will reprise his role as Darth Vader. It doesn't say he's Anakin Skywalker at all. So it might just be a case of, you know, like we literally know nothing about this show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all we know is it takes place 8 years after Revenge of the Sith. So we're not even halfway through that gap between 3 and 4.
If anything, I hope it's just kind of Vader hunting down Jedi. Not necessarily Obi-Wan, but Jedi.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be some kind of involved, like, you have to have the stories linked in some way, but yeah, I do agree. I would like to see a bit of that. I think that'll be fun. Now, the other big show, like, there's a few other shows, like, they announced a Lando show for some reason. it hasn't been confirmed, I don't think, but I would assume that's going to be a Lando show with Donald Glover. That's what I'm going to assume.
That. I fucking love Donald Glover as Lando.
I love Donald Glover as well. But the thing I have with this show is a case of why. It's like the Andor show. Why? Why are we doing a Lando show? But we obviously don't know much about that at all. So we can just move on from that. What else is there? There's the anime show which is coming out.
Which I'm excited for.
Which is what's that one called? That's called
Visions.
Visions. Yeah, so the anime show is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see that.
I'm interested
because it's going to
that...
be very similar to the what's the little web series they've been doing? Apparently it's going to be very similar to that, where it's going to be like retellings of
I
Star
know
Wars
what
events.
you're on about, but I can't remember the name.
Apparently it's going to be very similar to that, so
I'm interested.
Apparently that's people like that, so
they're getting authentic, actual, anime artists from Japan to do it. So it's
going to be a proper anime. So it's going to be good. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. And then there's droids and a few other stuff. But the other big show is the Acolyte, which is set during the High Republic era, like the late High Republic era, and that's obviously something that's only just started to be explored with the comics and shit. So it's very interesting because we really don't know a lot about this era, so it'd be really interesting to see kind of what this is going to be about. Apparently this is going to be a female centric show that's apparently created by Russell. Russell. What am I saying? It's show run by Leslie Headland, who is the co-creator of Russian Doll, which is a good show.
I love that show.
Yeah, so apparently she's doing it, so that should be interesting. But the idea of it's been described as an action thriller with martial arts elements. So this should be interesting. But also the Acolyte, I would assume this is going to revolve around Sith magic and shit.
I wouldn't be... it probably connects into Maul's... When I hear martial arts and shit, for whatever reason, I think of the fucking witch doctor people from...
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. They're the Acolytes. That, it's in the name, the Acolyte. That's just sounds like something that would be like that. But that's cool. It says here, though, that it's set in a pocket of the universe and a pocket of the time. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, so it's set in that particular era. That's what they mean by that. I wish they would stop using that kind of terminology. The Mandalorian timeline. It's not it's just a part of the timeline. Stop saying it's in the this is set in the timeline.
It's the New Republic era. That's all you got to say.
And also for the layman's, just say it's post episode 6.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars stuff coming out, and a lot of that stuff is going to be coming to... Oh, and the Bad Batch. Sorry, we forgot about that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
The Bad Batch is coming out, set to debut in July.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm looking at because more of the Clone Wars, I'm happy with that.
I didn't care for them as characters, but from the trailer I saw... The
trailer, it looks good.
It does. I like the tone.
It's also going to be very interesting to kind of see that era as well, because it's going to be kind of set around that era of when the Empire takes over the Republic. So we're going to be seeing that from clones' perspectives, because even though the Bad Batch, obviously, they're still clones.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see that perspective of that moment. And also that's a moment that isn't really explored too. We see it from the perspective of Obi-Wan and Anakin and all that, but that's a very isolated event. This is going to be a show that explores that whole moment from a different perspective. So I'm really interested to see a bit of world building.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to go into that question we asked earlier of when did the clones get phased out of the Stormtrooper.
It's going to be interesting, so I'm really interested to see that show. I'm looking forward to it. Plus, anything that's just more Clone Wars, I'm happy with.
It's very Season 7 Clone Wars, and That's peak Clone Wars.
So yeah, next episode we're going to do Mandalorian. That's what we did this episode. We're going to do WandaVision next episode. We're going to talk about we're going to go from one Disney Plus show to another Disney Plus show. And we're going to talk about that for a bit.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. That's going to be in a couple of weeks when the show actually ends. So look forward to that. And as always, you can find all our social medias and everything in the links in the description below. And if you are watching this, again, I reiterate, if you are watching the video version of this, this comes out early on podcast platforms. You can go check it out like a week ago. You're a week late. So go check that out there and go follow us on there and leave a review if this is up on Apple Podcasts or whatever those platforms are called. You can leave a review. So if you like it, leave a review. That'd be great. That definitely helps us out. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on Mandalorian or whatever. I don't know. Just do whatever, really. But yeah, everything's in the links below, and I'll leave it to Lewin to take us out.
All right. Thank you, everyone, very much for watching yet another Turning Point podcast episode.
Number 17.
Number 17. We will see you in a few weeks to few weeks time.
It'll be a couple of weeks time.
Couple of weeks time.
Mandalorian. Or if you're watching the video version of this, it'll probably be next week.
Exactly. In which case, it'll be a few weeks time from that point for the next episode. See you in episode 18, everybody. Have a good day, night, whatever.
Yeah. Cool. Bye.
Bye.